Theresa Griffin, Labour MEP for the North West. A debate this week about Ebola in the European Parliament and research ongoing in some of your local universities like Liverpool. Can the EU help in that kind of research, that ongoing work in places like Liverpool University?
Absolutely they can. Obviously this week we're actually debating our response to what is a tragic crisis. There is investment going in from the European Union, 149 million euro in terms of humanitarian and development aid, plus 140 million euro which is actually going to the 4 West African countries most directly affected. However, what's really important is that we do not just react to the crisis at present, but we have a long-term plan. Now, critical to that is research and development. Research and development in new terms of healthcare and ways of actually preventing and treating diseases like Ebola. And I'm very proud about the research being done in the northwest of England at the moment.
And is there potential then for the EU to help in that kind of research being done in the northwest of England? Are there funds that can be accessed? Is that something you're looking into or that's being explored here in Europe?
Yes, of course it's being explored in Europe at the moment. In terms of the University of Liverpool, at the University of Liverpool we have the Institute for Infection and Global Health. Now that institute has just undertaken a piece of research where it has identified the protein in a cell that actually triggers Ebola. It has also identified a drug already researched and on the market that prevents heart diseases, which can be used to isolate that protein. Now that's exactly the sort of research that we should have a platform for sharing good practice across research institutions right across the European Union to make sure that we're bringing the best of research together, we're funding it adequately in terms of preventative healthcare to make sure that we're actually making the best that we can do of our research base in the Northwest, which I'm very, very proud of.
I mean, we're talking potentially millions of pounds. These kind of projects are very, very expensive.
Absolutely.
And that money's not readily available, I guess, from other sources, particularly when it relates to a problem like in this case that's to do with developing countries where perhaps the pharmaceutical companies aren't going to be necessarily forthcoming with the funds, so the money has to come from somewhere.
We have a duty. In terms of Ebola, first identified in 1976, we've got over 4,000 cases. We've had over 2,000 deaths. Imagine how that's affecting those communities, those families, the development of those countries. So as the EU, we have an absolute duty to look at research function where maybe now the economics of it might not be apparent, but in terms of the development of a humanitarian approach, and then enabling those countries to work with our research institutions to develop their own research base and their own development of their own communities, we can actually find a long-term solution. It can't just be about responding to the present crisis, it's got to be about long-term development and security for those countries.